Hello! Our presentation, Repairing the Rivers of the Anthropocene, tells the story of the creative social experiment we are setting up to initiate the co-construction of river projects, where usually contracting authorities and design offices entirely direct the work. The acceleration of urbanization and industrialization from the 19th century onwards has led to the profound transformation of rivers. The quality of the biotopes, the quantity of available water, as well as their morphological form have been impacted by human activities. Today, the entire scientific community is warning us about the river's generalized state of degradation. In light of this, ecological restoration practices are identified as one of the solutions. It is defined as any international action that initiates or accelerates the self-repair of an ecosystem while respecting its health and integrity and sustainable management. Behind this broad definition lies a plurality of practices from the most interventionist to the most discreet ones. Restoration projects give rise to major controversies, both social and technical. Indeed, there is no single relationship to the river, but rather a variety of experiences and cultures where farmers, fishermen, or managers will not long for the same river. Moreover, the technical proposals can differ according to the objectives that one gives oneself, the references in time or space he or she chooses, or constraints that apply. Today, ecology is not the driving force behind restoration. Projects can only succeed if they address other uses, services, or interests. For this reason, they require the work of co-entrepreneurs to mobilize allies and interests to have the degradation of the river recognized as a public problem in Joseph Gusfield's sense. From the need to create a common world between humans and non-humans, these technical projects are primarily political choices.
Considering this, how to imagine differently the restoration project so they satisfy the expectation of the river unions and the riparian residents at the same time, corresponding to ecologically viable and especially shared states of rivers. Inspired by research in STS, in particular the work of Michel Callon and colleagues on technical democracy, we have devised a methodology that favors spaces for problematization, allowing us to consider restoration not only as a technical gesture, but also as care in the sense of feminist. The aim is to make repair converge with care. It's a question of taking advantage of controversy rather than trying to avoid them, in order to take into account a plurality of voices and therefore of relations that make a river, even the voices, the most subaltern ones, usually neglected. The interest of care is that it gives a good place to hesitation and trial and error against the usual conception of expertise. It allows for the extension of the field of knowledge, which is favorable to the exploration and co-construction of restoration projects. By valuing human and non-human subaltern point of view, we committed ourselves to giving a place to the sensitive and, if possible, to the river themselves. Our hypothesis is that this allows us to put the river back at the center of the exchanges, but also it induces a favorable shift towards symmetrical relation between actors. We told ourselves that it was necessary to script that political work necessary for the creation of restoration projects, as we had seen in the case of River Drac, where two astute entrepreneurs, an elected official and a river technician, had worked together to knot the scientific and social issues together to bring about the largest sediment reinjection experiment in France and even Europe. As not all rivers benefit from such good conditions from entrepreneurs dedicated to their cause, we undertook to define our approach by adapting what had been tried in the Lakes District in the UK in the year 2010 to deal with eutrophication problem affecting Lake Loweswater. With this model in mind, we developed the interdisciplinary project Resto Débat at the interface of hydromorphology, ecology, economics, sociology, and creative visual ethnography. It is based on thematic workshops that bring together scientists, managers, elected officials, and the public concerned, which are conceived these thematic workshops as non-hierarchical spaces for debate in order to define together future states of rivers. To achieve these objectives, we have given ourselves a few basic principles. The first one is that nature is neither a given nor a separate domain from social experience. The second is that all knowledge, must and can be debated. Finally, we declared uncertainty to be accepted as a general condition. All participants are also asked to make a long-term commitment, so shared understanding can be sedimented.
In parallel with workshops, we will make a feature-length documentary. This one must allow to bring the rivers into the space of the debate, to make visible the materialities and the living which compose it, to make cohabit plural voices and knowledge. But most of all, the creation of a film is a double challenge. Sensory is usually put aside in technical projects, but a river cannot be captured without considering the connections and emotion it inspires. The film is an immersive means, a tool, to summon the river and allow people to observe it from inaccessible or unusual vantage points. We are inspired by the current proposed by the Sensory Lab of Ethnography at Harvard. Two anthropologists, Lucien Castin-Taylor and Verena Paravel, report on the reality of industrial trolling in a film called Leviathan. They have developed a device of 10 mini cameras that they have set up in order to adopt incongruous angles. This film is an incredible experience that alternately takes the point of view of the fish, the fishers, the seagull, or the boat. In addition to these sensitive dimensions, the film must allow the development of a reflexive and critical thought on the practices of restoration. We refuse the hierarchy of knowledge and propose, on the contrary, to expose plural words and worlds on an equal level. There is no directive discourse that would embody the voice of science. In this way, we adopt an INRAE's proposal of partial perspectives. Each point of view comes to compose a unit, here a knowledge about the river. This approach is very cinematographic. To capture reality, the filmmaker proposes as many images and sounds that constitute a situated, partial proposal, a frame. He or she captures multiple frames that will be brought together or confronted by editing to create meaning and a deep understanding of the river. The experimentation is a challenge whose objective is to bring together scientific, social, and artistic dimensions that are usually separate. It forces us to relearn how to speak and write together with a recomposed plural voice. We hope very soon to be able to present the results to you. Thank you!